Did I ever tell you guys about the time that a Blick employee made me feel like I was a thief? We're about to get into that story real quick. Okay, so the way that this story is gonna happen, it starts off a little bit about me just like minding my business, talking on the phone. I had an incident with Michael's that made me not want to shop with them anymore. So it made me want to look for other outlets that sell art supplies. And I didn't know, I didn't pay attention to. I knew, but I didn't really pay attention to. I didn't pay attention to the fact that Blick was like the best store. To me, in my opinion, it's one of the best stores ever. So I was on 23rd Street, minding my business, and I look over my shoulder and I'm like, oh my God, there you go. There's the Blick store. Let me go inside. So my friend wind up hitting me up and she calls me and we chat and chat because she's busy. I'm busy. She got her life. I got my life. And yeah, we just be busy doing what we do, right? So she called me to catch up and we're talking about stuff. And this is around the time that I'm really starting to get into watercolor painting. So I have like some of the primary colors and I wanted to expand because they were like, oh, you should start off with the primary colors because you could make other colors with them. And my collective self was like, no, I like to collect things. I want the entire spectrum of all they have to offer in watercolors. So I start going in and I start slowly building up my art collection of watercolor paints so that I can just paint whatever I want to paint, right? So I'm in the section and I'm noticing that one of the employees is giving me the eye. And when I say the eye, I'm talking about this, like, okay, sis, maybe I was a little loud when I came in because, I'm on the phone. So I'm walking around looking for stuff. I have very particular taste of certain things. I am very loyal to brands. So if I like it, I'm going to stick with it and I don't like to deviate. I'm a Capricorn, that's what I do, right? So like Strathmore watercolor paper, Fluid watercolor paper, Arches watercolor paper, those are the three brands I like to go to and I don't like to go to anything else. I don't like XL Canson because it's cheap, at least to me, I don't know. This is at around the same time that I didn't have control over my water intake. So what that means is when I would paint, I would put too much water and then the paper would absorb that and it'll start to buckle. Now, I don't know, but I still don't like XL Canson. Anyway, so I'm putting tubes of paint in my basket. I have some paper books or whatever, pads that they call them, and I remember that one of the persons I was watching on social media said that if you're going to use white, you can't use white watercolor. You need gouache or you need a gel pen or you need like whiteout or something. So I'm like, okay. So I go up to the counter and I asked the lady who was giving me a side eye because, I was like, maybe I was just too loud. Maybe I was in the wrong. So I go up to her. I'm like, hey, so do you guys have any like gel pens or anything? And she's just like, you mean this right here? Sis, like, what's with the attitude? So immediately, while on the phone, I was like, girl, give me a second. I'm like, yeah. So I put my hand out, and she's like, no, I'll hold on to it. What do you mean that you'll hold on to it? Like, why are you denying me? Just, I have all the stuff in my basket. I want to keep it because I will forget it. Like, what's the problem? So instead of making something so small so much bigger, I decided, you know what? Just keep it just keep it over there and hopefully I don't forget. So I go around the store and I'm shopping. I'm talking to my friend and my friend overheard what happened and I was just like explaining it to her. So instead of giving me hype and allowing her to put the battery in my back, I decided to go into another section. I was looking at the oil paintings because art to me is just like, oh, it's so relaxing, so much fun. It's like addictive. Anyway, so I start wandering around and I'm a little annoyed by that experience because first off, she cut me off, and then second, like, as I'm walking away, I'm seeing her talking like smack to her coworker about me. Like, girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? So she caught me in a Zen time. She damn sure caught me at a Zen time. So I come back, I'm ready to purchase the stuff, and she's just giving me the eye, and she's just saying things like underneath her breath, and I'm looking at her like, what the hell? And what I'm not expressing to her, which possibly would have come out as rage and anger versus like sadness and like whatever else emotion I can't think of right now, was like, you're making me feel like I'm the thief. Like, first off, I understand that this is a predominantly white area, and if you know anything about New York City, like there are places, at least in my experiences, where I necessarily don't feel so welcomed. You're on 23rd Street, it's a gay area, so I thought at least I would have that in the bag. But according to the way she was responding, I don't think so. So I was just like, I left feeling really, really shitty. And I already get anxiety going into places thinking that, like, I don't want people thinking that I'm gonna steal something because of my complexion. And I think this is like one of the first times ever I'm socially aware of someone treating me like shit like this. It's weird. Anyway, so fast forward a couple of months or years later, I think a year and a half later, I started using Yelp. And from Yelp, I used it not to rate stores, but mostly to order food because I moved outside the city. And then I happened to come across 23rd Street again, and I decided to leave a review and tell them my experience, and other people verified that they have had the same experiences too, and that my post was really helpful. So yeah, I even went to another Blick store to ask, like, is it like taboo for people to take things from behind the counter and put in your basket? And the woman was like, no, you can do that. And I was like, oh. So yeah, that was just my experience of the time that a Blick employee made me feel like a thief.